Hi, I'm Sally Williams and welcome to another Martogg Industry Moment. And today I'm joined by Austin Ramage and Ben McCulloch from Martogg to discuss the recent announcement made by Kraft Heinz Company that they're teaming up with Pulpex to develop a paper-based bottle made from 100% sustainably sourced wood pulp as a wonderful step towards their path to make all their packaging either recyclable, reusable or compostable by 2025 and achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. It's great to see these brands making some positive steps. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Sally.
Hi,
good
Sally.
to see you.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Great to see you. The question I have, of course, is why? Why paper-based, wood pulp? Why are we using this for packaging?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I think that's been doing the rounds on LinkedIn over the last week or so.
It has.
I think probably the easiest way to answer that is that with the way things stand globally at the moment, the recycling of plastics, for example, is it's an imperfect process. It's not working as optimally as it can. There's definitely some countries that are doing better than others, and I think that all countries, including Australia, are definitely making steps in the right direction. But I think while you have that imperfection, you have room for innovative products like this to enter the space and offer a different solution to brands. And I think that because of that situation, certainly in the plastics industry at the moment, it's not working as well as it should be or as it could be, and it's taking time to establish itself. That I think, unfortunately, a lot of the time there is negativity towards plastic, and I think that really is fundamentally why we're seeing these sorts of products coming onto the market.
I think it's a good point, Austin. There is this negative perception around plastic. We know that. But at the same time, we are seeing the process is getting better. Okay, and there's a lot of acceleration at amongst brand owners who are looking to incorporate recycled content and make their packaging more sustainable. But at the end of the
Sorry, you go, Ben.
At the end of the day, as we've often spoken about, simplicity in packaging is best. There's two key elements, I guess, that give packaging, the green credentials, and that is the carbon footprint of the material used in the process, and also the recoverability and the recyclability of the product following use. And they're two things that we simply just can't overlook. Yeah, and
reusability, so it's completely circular.
Yeah. So what we need to be backing out products that are linear, that can only be disposed of into landfill, and looking for circular solutions. I think that's the key thing to understand and the key thing that we all need to focus on.
I do wonder, though, we're putting so much energy into these new innovations, but we could put that energy into perfecting what we actually already have and not reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I think if you just step back a little bit to the raw material itself as well, it's a really interesting comparison. So you have a product, obviously, that's, it's coming from oil and gas, but we know that plastics production is such a small part of, as a percentage of total fossil fuels, compared to a product that effectively is coming from forestry. Now, I know that there's sustainable forestry, there's climate positive forestry, but you really have to wonder about diverting products across to using raw material coming from trees, whether, what the long-term effects of that are. And I think if you try and look at the raw materials comparatively, you take a carbon footprint comparison, for example, virgin PET, somewhere around 2 kilograms of CO2 for each kilogram of PET. This product, one of its claims is a 90% reduction on CO2 footprint versus glass and 30% on plastic. So at face value, fantastic, you have a 30% saving on PET. But we know that rPET has a 70 to 80% saving on virgin PET. So, if we just focused on the circularity of rPET, for example, versus this product, and we know that, from the video we did a month or so ago, that rPET can be used circularly at quite a high percentage. I think it's ahead on the carbon footprint argument as well. I think recycled PET is in front.
And look, we're no experts when it comes to paper-based packaging. What we do know is that in many instances it does require an internal layer, often plastic, to give it those barrier properties. And it's just something that we need to consider and understand again when it comes to correct disposal and end recycling of packaging following use.
On the website, on the Pulpex website, they talk about how at the moment the product is not certified for use back into food applications again. So, we'll be the first ones to say that downcycling isn't always bad. There's plenty of industrial applications for plastic products, but really, the most important point there is if you can be circular, I think, that's really what we should be aiming for.
For sure.
Yeah. And what about the caps? Because they're obviously plastic.
Yeah. So, that's a whole discussion and probably a topic, probably a good topic for us to cover at some point, Sally. From a plastics perspective, I think our point of view on that would be that it's best to keep the plastic closure or cap on the bottle, because I think that gets it through the Murphing process. It gets it through to the say, for example, the PET washing process, and then that PE cap can be separated through the washing process and recovered at that point. Whereas if you have a cap going loose into a recycling bin, because of the infrastructure that we have in place at the moment, we know that based on the small size of the caps, it's more than likely falling through and not being recovered with the other plastics. So it's definitely another topic for another time, because I know that there's a lot of work being done on tethered closures at the moment as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely have that discussion another time. But I guess the bottom line is it's fantastic that brands are all working very hard to find alternative and better sustainable packaging solutions for their products, because, 10 years ago we weren't having these discussions at all, were we? So we've made a lot of positive headway, haven't we? The industry itself. I think it's more about the consumer understanding, making sure we educate the consumer well, because they're looking. The reason the brands are doing this is because I would imagine their consumers are asking for it.
Yes, absolutely, and that's why we have to keep trying to create positive outcomes for packaging products. Us in the plastic space, the supply chain in the glass, in glass, in aluminium, in paper as well, because paper we know is recyclable as well. We have to keep trying to create circular recycling outcomes for these products, so that consumers don't have to feel bad going and purchasing a product in plastic or whatever medium it is that they choose, because they can feel confident that the product that they're buying is packaged in a sustainable way, or in the most sustainable way that it can be.
Yeah, and we just want to make sure that we're being able to recycle it the best way possible too, and that we just keep improving that system, the recycling.
Yeah,
collecting and the recycling is key, and then educating the consumer about that. So because that'll help them make the right choice as well at the point of sale, which is what this is really all about, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, and I think it's really provoked a lot of conversation around recycling and around the choice of raw materials for packaging products. So I think it's been really good to have a lot of these conversations aired over the last week or so.
So do I, and I'm sure there's probably plenty that are listening now that have their own point of view and might have some questions for you guys. So if you don't mind, I'll ask anybody that's listening and has any questions for Austin or Ben, please put them in the comments and they'll get back to you. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in again. Great conversation.
Yeah, great to see you, Sally. And
that's great, Sally.
Yeah, hopefully there's some questions to come, and we can have a talk about it.
Yeah, well, it's a conversation we have to keep having.
Absolutely.
We'll have many of these, and I think one of the next ones will be about caps and lids. So tune into that one. But thanks again for listening to our Martogg Industry Moment, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Sally. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.